I won't let it go.
So welcome back. Let's continue. We're back in 2 Samuel and we're at chapter 13, and we're going to continue the story about King David's family. So if you want to see where we started, check out video number 1. It's episode 10. It will be linked at the end of this video if you want to see part 1 before you come and watch this one. So this is part 2. And we talked about the friend yesterday, right? The friend, Jonadab. And today we're going to see how Amnon raped his sister. So we're going to talk about that. So a crafty friend giving bad advice, totally not for you, not giving godly counsel, led for him to scheme and pretend and do this horrible, disgusting act towards his sister Tamar. And we're going to start in 2 Samuel chapter 13, and we are going to pick up where we left off in chapter 9, as have everyone go out from me. And they all went out from him. Then Amnon said to Tamar, bring the food into the bedroom, that I may eat from your hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them to Amnon, her brother, in the bedroom. This is her brother. She's not thinking anything is going to happen. I mean, they wouldn't have that type of relationship. So bringing our brother or a sister food should be an innocent act, because why? We think they're sick. She thought he was sick. So she baked the cake and she's bringing them to him in his bedroom. Now when she had brought them to him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her, come, lie with me, my sister. This is what he said to his sister. But she answered him, no, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing should be done in Israel, right? No such thing. Do not do this disgraceful thing. Now, a lot of us, because of advice from bad people, right? People who don't have our best interests at heart, they don't have the Spirit of God in them, they're not following God, they give bad advice, and it will bring disgrace upon us if we follow this advice. So she said, this disgraceful thing. And hi, where could I take my shame? And as for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore, please speak to the king. She's telling him, speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you. However, he would not heed her voice. And being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. Then Ammon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. Isn't that how the devil works? He'll dangle stuff in front of us, deceive us, try to trick us. And when we reach for that thing, we realize that all that's in that thing is death. So instead of the love that he thought that he had for his sister, which was not love, he was just filled with lust. He was filled with lust. He had uncontrollable feelings for his sister, illicit feelings, sexual desire that he should not have had. It was indecent, and it brought disgrace to her. She was ashamed, and then he hated her. A lot of times when the devil lures us into sin, that thing that makes our flesh feel good and tells us, oh, this is going to make you feel good, this is going to make you this is going to make you that. After we do it, we feel bad, we feel disgusted, we feel ashamed, we feel guilt. I want to say this, there is nothing wrong with having sexual desires. God created us to have sexual desire, but there's a place for it, and it's in marriage, when we want to make sure we're having intercourse with our spouses. God created it to be within marriage, but the devil has perverted it. And so you have people fornicating, you have people committing adultery and just doing a lot of perverse acts and perverse things. It's like you're supposed to read a book. God gave you a book to be read this way, and the devil said we need to read the book this way. And that's perversion. It's upside down. You know, it's flipping something, doing something the way it should not be done. And so as we go on to read, it says that Ammon hated his sister, right? And so the love which he had loved her, and Ammon said to her, arise and be gone. He wants her to get away from him. So she said to him, no, indeed, this evil of sending me away is worse than the other that you did to me. But he would not listen to her. Then he called his servant who attended him and said, here, Put this woman out away from me, and bolt the door behind her. Now she had on a robe of many colors, for the king's virgin daughters wore such apparel. And his servant put her out and bolted the door behind her. Then Tamar put ashes on her head, and tore her robe of many colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head, and went away crying bitterly. And Absalom her brother said to her, Has Amnon your brother been with you? But now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this thing to heart. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. Right? She felt ashamed. She cried bitterly. And a lot of times when sin comes into our life, we feel it brings shame. You know, we are always crying, but Jesus is the answer, the cross. Bring your guilt, your shame, all your bad things to the cross and leave them there and turn away from your sin. And so we see here he committed this great sin, and the devil always dangles things in front of us that seem like they're gold, but they're not. He wants to trap us and bring shame to us. So this is part 2. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. And Absalom spoke to his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. So now we see here, we have hatred within the siblings. There's hatred now between the brothers because of what Amnon did, because he had this ungodly desire, this uncontrollable lust for his sister. He listened to people who were not truly his friend, who gave him really terrible advice and schemed for him, and then he acted upon what he was feeling and upon the plan that he was given by this friend, and he carried it out. And then we saw how shame came, guilt came, disgrace came, bitterness came, and then hatred came that was building up inside his brother. And we're going to talk about that in the other video, what happened, what transpired because of what Amnon had done to Tamar between the siblings in King David's family. So once again, we need godly people around us all the time. This is so important. We are always being influenced, whether by good or evil, and we have to make sure we have godly people in our ears, people who are edifying and encouraging us and building us up and correcting us when we fall or make mistakes. And we have to be open to be teachable, to know and discern spirits. Test every spirit to know if they're of God. So see you in the next video.